All right, well, welcome everyone to CWCT orientation for our upcoming August session. If you are in here, then you are fortunate, I would say, because this has been a program that has been going on for a few years, but we have only a certain number of spots that are open. So congratulations to all of you for getting through all those assessments, for going through the steps, and for getting ready to start the program. Without further ado, my name is Steve Olson. I'm one of the program managers. I work part-time on this program and work full-time as a system administrator at UNC Charlotte. And I was in the U.S. Army and U.S. Army Reserve for a hot minute and have been with this program again for a few years. So I'm joined by Chrissy, Josie, and Amber, who I'll let introduce themselves in a bit, but we've got a few of our program managers on the call. And first and foremost, I want to take a second to explain what this program is. You'll kind of see it on my screen right here because you may have noticed, maybe you saw something on LinkedIn or on a news blast or a friend told you about the program. And then you went on Purdue's website, Purdue Northwest, and then you applied on Ivy Tech's website. And you're probably thinking, what's going on here? Really, this is a federal consortium. So if you're not familiar with that, that means the federal government, through a grant through the National Center of Academic Excellence in Cybersecurity, which is a wing of the National Security Agency. This is a federal grant funded program that all four of our universities between Ivy Tech, Purdue Northwest, UTC Chattanooga, and University of North Carolina, Charlotte all work together to build this. So we got that big logo in the middle and the logo we got on our shirts and our Zoom backgrounds, but really we're just a consortium of universities that work together to provide you great instructors from all those universities, staff members, and really good hands-on training. So that's kind of the gist of what CWCT is. Before I go over the agenda for the evening, I just have a couple of quick things to say. I usually say something along these lines for every cohort, but it always comes out a little bit different. But I know this is from kind of the bottom of my heart. Transitioning, if you're out there and you are a current service member, you're a past service member, or you've been separated for several years, or if you're a first responder, you're currently working in law enforcement, or you've come out of that, I want to say we understand that transition can be difficult. And it's going to be difficult, personally and professionally. Going from this military world, civilian world has its own unique challenges, from translating your skill set to civilian-friendly language to all this stuff that happens outside of the classroom with everything else that's going on. So I want to say, thank you all for your service to our nation and your local communities. And we appreciate you choosing this. We actually believe that this program is truly, it's free. The point of this program, that at least the reason that I do this work, is I'm hoping that you all can either use this program to get a better job when you get out, to upskill in your current job, or maybe nag that promotion you've been itching for the last few years. But really, that's what we're here for. Myself and all the program managers that you see on the call, Amber, Chrissy, Josie, Fatima, we're here to help you. We want you to be successful. Now, I say all that to also say that this program is not an easy one. We do not advertise this program as a quick boot camp or something you can just rush through. We have really good curriculum, and that means that you're going to be better prepared for not only the workforce, but also to pass your certification exams should you choose to sit for your Sec Plus, your Cyber Ops, your EC Council, CHFIs, or CEHs. So I say all that to say many of you may be very busy in your daily lives. I know that you can make time for this program, but I want to just implore you all to make sure that you have a plan to portion out some time out of your week to make sure that you're studying and you're keeping up with your classes. And if you're not, you're communicating with your instructors no different than any other college course. So I say all that as kind of my spiel to really say thank you all so much for choosing CWCT. We're here to help you, and a little bit of kind of an encouragement, hopefully, you can take from that. So tonight, I'm going to talk through our agenda briefly. So after my talking head is done in the next 30 seconds or a minute, Chrissy's going to go do a program overview, talk about all our other resources, our support staff, and then you're going to be able to hear from all of our instructors in the program. We should have most, if not all of them, on the call tonight to talk about the courses that they teach and a little bit of that. At 4:45 Central Time, Chrissy knows it all is what we sometimes call this section. Please pay attention to this. This entire orientation is recorded, so you can go back on YouTube and watch it if you have questions. But the Ivy Learn and My Ivy account, Zoom access, that's how you do this program. So you make sure you can get into that account, make sure you know how to access your lectures, and then we'll move on. And our PIs, and in the college research world, PI is just a principal investigator. These are the faculty members that are in charge of the program. Dr. Michael Tu is the director of CWCT, and Dr. Sakeb and I don't know who would be doing the systems admin track tonight, but we have faculty and principal investigators that are discussing that. Lastly, me and Josie are going to briefly talk about some of the stuff we've done historically and moving forward with employer engagement. We have tons of YouTube videos from the last 3 years of different companies, resources, and other things that I want to share with you all at that time, and also talk about things to look out for in the future beyond what's going on in the classroom. And then we're going to go ahead and wrap up. This is a bit of a long orientation. If you need to grab something to drink, if you need to eat your dinner, please do so. But make sure you're paying attention because the next 2 hours is crucial to your success in the program. So again, I'll leave you with that. Thank you all so much. I'm going to turn it over to Chrissy Duncan, and thanks for choosing CWCT and welcome.
Thanks, Steve. Let me go ahead and share my screen. All right. Hold on, let me find my other. So I am Chrissy. All of you have received emails from me throughout your application process. So now you can finally put a face with a name. You know, many of you heard from me multiple times throughout that process. So today what I am going to be doing is I am going to be, hold on, talking about just an overview of the program. I only have about 30 minutes and there's a lot to cover with this program. So I am going to move fairly quickly. It will be, again, recorded and the link will be sent to you probably by the end of the week. If you have any questions, please just throw them in the chat and somebody can either answer them in the chat, or more than likely I will answer it at some point during this program overview or when I talk about my Ivy. So we will go ahead and get started and talk about the program in general, just so you guys know what you are getting yourselves into. So as a part of the CWCT program, we offer 3 tracks of study, and those 3 tracks of study will be talked about more specifically later on by our PIs, as Steve mentioned. We have the artificial intelligence track, the digital forensics track, and the system administration track. As a participant in the CWCT program, you were admitted under one of those tracks only, and we can only guarantee that you complete one of those tracks only. Please do not come in expecting I'm going to do every single class available in all 3 tracks. We only have so much funding. This is a grant funded program. We only have so much funding. We cannot guarantee that you will be able to do any more than just your 6 required courses. Our courses are non-credit courses, so you are not getting college level credit for these courses. However, they are of a college level, which is why we have you do all of the assessments that we had you do during the application process. We need to make sure that you can handle the rigor of this program. So they are non-credit courses, but they are all of college level, and you will take six courses within your track of study. We'll talk here in a second about what if you might already have some of the certifications. That will come later. These courses are offered through live virtual lectures, 6 hours per week. These lectures are recorded for those who cannot attend live. We have participants from all over the world, so we know that time zones can be a big play on this, as well as like our law enforcement and first responders often work very odd shift work where they may be available sometimes and not others. But for everybody, all of our lectures are recorded if you cannot attend live. And because of all these issues, we cannot offer classes at every single time to accommodate for every single person to attend live, unfortunately. So because of that, again, you will be able to watch. If you cannot attend a live lecture, it will be recorded so that you can watch it when you are available. This whole program is virtual. We have no in-person offerings, so everything is virtual online. You will take those 6 required courses over a series of sessions. So our sessions are 8 weeks long, where you will take 1 to 2 courses per session. You are not required to take 2 courses. And we honestly, your first session, we typically tend to recommend only to take 1, because the number 1 reason why students withdraw or drop a course or go from 2 to 1 is the time commitment of this program. Even though we have warned you during the application process multiple times of the time commitment. Students don't take those warnings seriously sometimes, or they really think they can do it, but you are not required to take 2 courses. Now, if some of you know previous students in our program, they may have mentioned that you get a 2-week break in between. We have had some recent changes to the program where starting after our August session, there will only be 1 week in between the sessions rather than 2. So you go to classes for 8 weeks, you have a 1-week break, and then you start your next 8 weeks. So you need to be able to commit several sessions for this program. It's not just you do it all at one time and then you're done. Typically, it's going to take, if you take 2 courses a session, it's going to take you, I believe it's 7 months. If you do 2 courses per session, if you do 2 courses per session, it's going to take you about 7 months, I believe. And if you do 1 course, it takes you about 13 months. However, we do not have that amount of time remaining in this program, which you'll see later. So there may be some sessions that you do have to take 2 courses later on in your time with us. So each course may lead to an industry recognized certification. These are things like CompTIA A+, Security Plus, Linux Plus, Cisco CyberOps, Ethical Hacking, the CHFI from EC Council. Not every class leads to a certification, unfortunately, but many of them do. You still have to complete the class to complete the program. So within each track of study, you're going to have the option, you're going to be trained for 4 to 5 certifications. We will pay for 1 guaranteed certification voucher. You will have the ability to request up to 2 additional vouchers for a total of 3 if the funding is available for those additional vouchers. You get 1 for sure. You may be able to get 2 more if we have funding available. If we don't have the funding available and you still want to get the voucher or the certifications related to those classes, you are more than welcome to pay for them out of pocket. A lot of the times you may be able to get a discount, especially for those CompTIA certifications. You may be able to get a discount for those. Once you have completed the program, you will get a certificate of completion for all your required courses. Again, this is not a degree program. It's not an associate's degree. It's not a bachelor's degree or anything like that. You will get a certificate of completion when you are done. So, as I mentioned, you're admitted under 1 track of study. You must complete 6 courses within your track following the established CWCT curriculum. This is very important. You cannot pick and choose which courses you want or do not want to take and in what order you want to take them. So each of you would have gotten a registration email. Please keep in mind, this is orientation. This does not mean that you are registered for classes. All of you would have received a registration email. If you have not responded and filled out the registration forms yet, you are not registered for the upcoming session yet. So please do that. Those would have gone to your Ivy Tech email. But in that email, it tells you what classes you're eligible for. And at the very end, it gives you the infographic of what order you need to take them in. There are prerequisites to classes. You can't just come in and say, I'm going to take Security Plus. A+ is the prerequisite for that. So you have to go in the order that we set for the plan of study. You must follow those established prerequisites. If you already have the certifications that's associated with the class, a waiver can be provided for that class. We would have to have a copy of the certification, and those waivers are provided during the registration period of the session you would be taking that class. So a lot of our participants already have Security Plus, but Security Plus is not one of the first classes you take. So that waiver is not provided until you would be scheduled to take that class. Most of you would have provided your certifications already to us in the application process. If we did not get that certification, we will request it during the registration process. You will also find that We are rigorous, but we know life happens. So we do provide some wiggle room, I guess you can say. You get 3 attempts to complete each course because we know life happens, deployment, health issues, those kinds of things. So you do get 3 attempts at each class in your track of study. If you do not complete a course in those 3 attempts, you are removed from the program. We can only allow so much wiggle room. Now, this is a question that always gets asked. It'll be asked, even though I'm covering it, it'll be asked multiple times again in the chat. I mentioned you can only do 1 track of study and it's 6 courses. We always get asked, what if I do want to take courses outside of my track of study? You might be able to take courses outside of your track of study if we have room available in those courses. Those who need a course get first chance at it because they need it to complete their program. You do not need to be emailing me saying, I'm in system admin, but I'm interested in taking an AI course. Please don't email me because we can't do anything about it. When you are eligible for additional courses outside of your track of study, you will be notified during the registration process and you will be given directions at that time what you need to do. We can never guarantee that you will be able to take additional courses. We have students who have been requesting the same course for sessions now and have not been able to do it because we just don't have the room for them to be able to do it. So please do not bank on being able to do a bunch of additional courses outside of your track of study. Is it possible? Yes, we cannot guarantee it, and it's really going to just depend on how many students are in the class at that time. So as I mentioned, and we are going to go over these again, these 3 tracks of study are going to be more specifically talked about later on. I'm not going to go over this because it's all a review of what I just talked about. All right, so what is expected of you for participation? Because this is one where students think this is a self-paced course. They will wait until the very last week to submit their assignments, and that is not the case. As a participant, you are expected to participate weekly in classes. What does that mean? That means that you need to be completing quizzes, labs, homework, exams, whatever the assignments are in the class, you need to be submitting those assignments each week in your assigned classes. These are not self-paced courses, and submitting assignments should not be delayed. If you cannot submit assignments each week, you need to discuss late submission with your instructor. We will check participation every 2 to 3 weeks, kind of just depends on what our schedules look like. And we're going to reach out to you if you have not submitted assignments in that time frame. If you are not submitting work after we have reached out to you, you will be dropped from the course and it will count as an attempt for the course. So it's really important that you are submitting those assignments or communicating with your instructor about any issues that maybe you can't submit assignments. Instructors are going to be much more likely to work with you if you are communicating with them. You also need to make sure that you are attending either the live Zooms or, again, if you can't attend, that you are watching the recordings. If you can't attend the live lectures, just let your instructors know so that they know your intentions in the class. Attendance is taken, but it does not count for a grade. It is strictly for data purposes. So we know who is attending versus who's not, if they're successful in the course versus who's not, etc. So you need to make sure you are participating weekly by submitting assignments to remain enrolled in this program. And we mentioned this briefly before, the time commitment. We cannot stress this enough. You will have for one course 6 hours of lecture each week. It's typically 2 days a week, 3 hours each. It's typically a Monday, Wednesday, a Tuesday, Thursday. We typically don't have weekend classes, but we had to this session, or it could be a Saturday, Sunday. And then that means for each hour you are in class, in lecture, you should also estimate to be spending 2 to 3 hours on assignments for every hour you are in class. I'm just going to use 2 hours. That means for one class, you're spending 6 hours in lecture, which means that you could have a potential of 12 additional hours in that one class for homework for the week. Six hours of lecture times 2 hours of homework for each hour you're in class, that's 12 hours. So that is 18 hours for the week for just one class. If you take 2 classes, that is 36 hours for 2 classes for the week. That's pretty much equivalent to a full-time job. On top of, many of you are probably working full-time jobs. Now, is this the case for everybody? No, everybody's going to be different with the experience they have, those kinds of things. But again, the number one reason students withdraw from a course, whether they're in one course or 2, is the time commitment. If I have now made you a little hesitant on your registration options and you had registered for 2 courses and now maybe want to drop down to 1, number 1, you really need to take the A+ course first, because it is the prereq for for your cyber ops and your security plus and a lot of other courses. That's if you don't already have the A+ cert. So if you are wanting to drop from 2 to 1 after hearing this, please send me an email. It's not going to get to tonight. I'm not going to get to it tonight, probably tomorrow, the day after. And I'm sure Amber, if she hasn't already, will throw my email down there in the chat for you guys. Send me an email that you want to drop a class and which class it is you're wanting to drop from. Again, if A+ is one of the courses you're in, you should stay in that one. It's really important not to overcommit yourself and take more classes than you can manage with work, family, etc. And as I mentioned before, you are not required to take 2 courses. If you can only take 1 for now, that's fine. Again, you might have to take 2 much later once you've gotten everything going and under your belt and know how it works and that kind of stuff. And I'll kind of explain why that is here in a moment. All right. And I realized I took off, I did not take off our June session off of this. Ignore this regular session 15, June 3rd to July 28th, because that session just ended. You will see that starting August 12th, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, we only have 5 sessions left. Right now, our program is slated to end in 2025. Our grant ends at that time. We do not know if we're going to get extended, additional funding, that kind of thing. So I would recommend working as if the program ends in essentially end of June of 2025. So we have 5 sessions left and you're required to take 6 courses. That means at least one of your sessions, if you want to complete the program before we end, you will have to take 2 courses. Typically, that's going to be like for the system admin track, that's going to be cyber ops and security plus are typically taken together. Or a lot of you may already have security plus, so you're only required to take 5 classes, you'll be fine. If something happens that you cannot finish all 6 courses, you just absolutely cannot do 2 courses a session, you have to take a session off, whatever it may be, you can still participate in this program. And essentially you could just get as many of the classes done as you can to allow you to train for as many of those certifications as you can. So don't, oh, I'm not going to be able to finish 6 courses. You can still participate in the program. You will notice each of these are 8 weeks long with a 1-week break, except for regular session 18. I think that's like 10 weeks, but it is because there are no classes for a 2-week period due to campus closures for winter breaks. We all kind of have different winter breaks, so we kind of have to accommodate for the 4 institutions. Again, if you talk to somebody else, these dates are going to vary slightly from what they had originally been told. These are the dates for them as well. We're kind of waiting to let them know once we have everything in order. One of the other things that you are able to do as a participant is you can defer sessions. Let's say you start and you get deployed, or you're having health issues, or you have family commitments and you can't take the next session. That's fine. You can defer that session. You can defer up to 3 sessions in a row before you are removed from the program for inactivity. We're going to deny, if you try to defer for a 4th session, we're going to deny that and say you need to register now or you can no longer be in the program. We only have so much money from the grant. We can't just keep letting students defer and defer and defer and defer. We have to have a commitment. So again, continuation beyond this, we just don't know at this point whether it's going to be continued beyond this last date. All right, so what is covered? You know, a lot of you are like, probably heard free program, and you're like, well, nothing's free. What's the catch? So I'm going to talk about some of the stuff that's covered as a part of this free program. So first of all those assessments that you took, the English, the math, the IT assessment, including any study paths you might have had to take for English and math, or any of the training modules you had to do for IT, that was all covered as a part of this grant. You did not have to pay to take those. We will cover the voucher, 1 certification voucher guaranteed. Again, you may be able to request up to 2 additional vouchers for a total of 3, but those additional vouchers are really just going to depend if we have the funding available. And again, if you want more than just the 1 voucher or more than the 3 vouchers, the coursework itself is still covered. You would just have to pay for additional vouchers out of pocket or just not get them. That's going to be completely up to you. So what else is covered? The courses themselves with your live virtual faculty instruction. You're going to meet our instructors here in a while. You are getting some very good instructors as a part of this program. They're from each of the 4 institutions. Some of them have been doing this a very long time. Some of them have been out in the field and can give you that real world experience. So this isn't just a learn on your own. You have this support from the instructors. And again, with the live virtual classes, they're recorded for you to view later if you can't attend the live session. Also, as a part of this, we have what are called cybersecurity support analysts, and their email address is on the slide. When Amber sends the link for this, it will also include the slideshow for you guys because there are some links that can be clicked and that kind of stuff. But our support analysts may be available for tutoring for some classes. They may be available for technical support for the NetLab environment, which you'll use for classes. They are the ones who help set up and maintain our virtual machines that are used in classes. So that is all included, covered by this grant. Books and materials. There's only 2 courses that actually have a book, and it's not a physical book, it's an online book, and it's only available in an online format. That's going to be your ethical hacking course within the system admin track, and the digital forensics investigation course within the digital forensics track. Those are the only ones with per se books. Those are covered, and again, those are only available as a virtual book. Now, there is a caveat to this, but it will only affect you if you have to retake a class. And that is if you are required to take Linux, which would be in the system admin track and the digital forensics track. It's a required course. We will pay the first time you take a class, we pay for the code you need to access the material. If you withdraw from the course, drop the course, if you're dropped for non-participation, if you fail the course and have to retake it, you would then be responsible for paying for the code when you retake it. At this time, the last time I checked, it was only $29.95, so it's not like hundreds of dollars, but that's the only caveat. Pass your class the first time, you don't have to worry about it. All right, so what kind of support? So as you can see, let me go back to that. This is everything. This is the program covered completely by the grant that we're funded by. All right, so what kind of support do we provide you as well on top of all the course stuff? I already talked about the cybersecurity support analyst, so I'm not going to mention that again. You may have graduate assistants or supplemental instructors in some of your class that can help, again, with tutoring, help with the class, those kinds of things. We don't have one in every class, but there are some classes that have those. You have an assigned program manager. So it's either going to be me, Amber, or Fatima are the 3 program managers. We are here to help support you. Please just don't disappear on us. Let us know what's going on. Let your instructor know what's going on. We can't help you if you're just not letting us know what's going on. Your instructors, I always say your instructor is really the first person you should go to when you have issues. We, as program managers, do not have access to courses. So if you're having a technical issue, issues with the material, you want an extension, we, as program managers, cannot do that for you. Always start with your instructor. They're going to be the ones that are going to be able to more than likely assist with those questions. And then if they can't help, they'll refer you to us. Or if you do come to us first and we can't help you, we'll direct you to your instructors. We'll get you where you need to go for what you need. Again, what other support do we provide? We allow you the 3 attempts at each course. It's not, oh, you didn't pass this course, you're out of here. Again, we know life happens, especially a lot of you might have those military obligations where you really don't have the choice but to be deployed or on orders or, what have it. Again, we do allow you to sit out for up to 3 sessions. That's another thing that we provide to you to kind of give you that support at getting through this program. It's not, oh, you can't attend next session, you're out. We allow you that wiggle room to sit out for a few sessions. Our fireside chats and career fairs are going to be talked in a little bit more by Steve and maybe Josie a little bit later. But what I want to point out here is we do not offer, or we do not provide employment placement. We don't have the resources, those kinds of things. But what we do try to provide is these workshops. We call them fireside chats. These fireside chats are employment workshops, networking workshops, job search workshops to kind of give you that support in going out and finding those jobs on your own. We also do host career fairs for you where employers can come in. A lot of the time it might be more for networking if they don't have like, here's jobs. But again, Steve will be talking about those a little later as well. So that is my part. Amber, were there any questions in the chat that did not get answered?
Nope, I think Steve's been on top of it. So
Wonderful. Thank you.
The only one I had briefly was it came up about how long vouchers are good for. I didn't want to misspeak on that. Do you know how long like A+, for example, is good for?
It depends. When you get the voucher, it will have the expiration date on it. I don't do the vouchers, so I don't know. I'm Kim, I say, do you know?
Every one that I've seen, all the exams is it's a 1 year from the date that the voucher is issued.
Thank you. So yeah, so it is going to depend, but they do expire. So you'll want to make sure that when you request those vouchers, you're making your appointment and doing those.
Perfect. All right, so if you have questions, keep just throwing them in chat. As we meet your instructors tonight, sorry, y'all, the drivers for my camera have expired and I don't have admin permission to update them. So no camera for me tonight. But as your instructors are introduced and they're going to talk about these classes, I know some of you had some very specific questions about course material and where the class is going to be housed and what platforms that they use. So here's going to be your chance for your instructors to tell you a little bit more about that. So if you had questions and you didn't get the answer right away, just be ready. Your instructors are going to be going over it next. So at this point, we're going to go through and meet the different instructors that are teaching for this coming August session. So most of you have already submitted your registration forms and you've been getting your schedules. So here is your chance to meet who your teacher is going to be, and they're going to talk a little bit about their expectations for the class and give you a little background about themselves. So everybody has to take an A+ course. And so I'm going to start off with those A+ instructors. And if you have Mondays and Wednesdays as the evening that your class is meeting, you'll probably have Enrique or Alma Scott teaching your section. And I know I saw Enrique on here earlier. Enrique, do you want to kick us off?
Sure, that's fine.
Awesome. Thank you.
Hey, everyone. This is Mr. Catalan. I'm going to be teaching the fundamental CompTIA A+. So everyone in any path, you will take my class, the CompTIA A+. Not everyone, but I'm one of the instructors. We are going to be starting with troubleshooting hardware, software. We are going to get into networking. We are going to talk about IPv4, IPv6, why it is important right nowadays, right? Then we are going to be also learning about the virtualization, cloud. We are also going to talk about security, and customer service. We do a lot in this class. It's a lot of fundamentals you had to go through. I know most of you guys have some experience, but it is a required class for you to just do a recap, to be able to get that fundamentals back into track, right? So I'm gonna be teaching Monday and Wednesday, 6 to 9, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yep. Yep. Mondays and Wednesdays.
Yes, I get confused sometimes. But yeah, but the key factor of this class, it is communication. I'm here to make you success. All right, to make you successful in my course. So if you can talk to me, if it's something going on, you have to talk to me. I have to know what's going on, how you haven't submitted any work, or you need any time extension on your work. I'm here to help you. I'm not here to block you from be successful in your path. I'm here to help you. So I'm glad you guys are all here, and good luck in your career path.
Awesome. Thanks for kicking us off, Enrique. Yeah, lots of good information. So if you happen to have Enrique as your instructor and you have some questions for him, feel free to send him a message or throw it in chat. I don't believe Alma was able to join us yet. So we're gonna hold off on introducing Alma. But if you have this A+ class on Tuesday and Thursday evenings, you're gonna have Professor Moseni. Professor Moseni, would you like to introduce yourself and talk a little bit about your A+ course?
Thank you. Yes, my name is Majid Moseni, and I have been in education for over 25 years. So I have a lot of experience in teaching and different classes, and specifically on the computers that I will be teaching you the A+ class. As Enrique said, there is a lot of software and hardware material that you are going to learn. This is the fundamental class that everybody has to take this one before you go to your main program. So you are going to, even though if you are expert in your field, in the computer, networking, everything, I always find someone that they're learning something from this course. It's always something that they say, oh, I didn't know this, or I never. So it's a really good class with lots of information. And we try to give you as much as possible. We do have lots of great videos. That brings you like you're actually in the lab. It really shows you lots of good hands-on labs and the lectures. So again, that's my first word that Enrique also mentioned about the communications. One thing that I do emphasize for my class, even though it's not necessary, as many people, they can come live in the class rather than watching the recording. That would be beneficial to everyone. We do understand if somebody cannot, you can watch the recording. All of those are recorded and you can watch it on your time whenever you want to. But, like the very last class, I have 38 out of 50 people are joining us to class every night. So we do have a really good presentations and people are involved. That's what the difference is going to make. You can get live, action with everybody else. And we want to make them interactive. So participation is one of the main one. that you want to do, and communication that if there is something is going on, you want to let us know. As Chrissy said, we are your first stop to let us know if there's any issues. There's always a way to get around it. There's a way to maybe give you, a different extension, a different way of, or helping you out to get the right material, how to do the labs if you are having issue with it. There's always things that we can fix it in here. So please make sure to communicate with us, and we will be able to help you to get through these classes, because this is the fundamental for your other classes. We will teach you 2 classes on the networking and 1 class on the security. But eventually you are going to have the whole class on the security. You have the whole class on the networking later on in here. So we get you started on everything that is possible. So I don't want to take too much time in here. We will get all your information on the first day of the class. We will be talking about all the details, what expectation and all of those information on the first day. But if you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Mohseni. So if you do have Professor Mohseni Tuesday, Thursday evenings, and you've got some specific questions, here's your chance to send him a quick message in chat. And hopefully he can answer before he has to take more time for his own stuff to do this evening. And then some of you may have Saturdays and Sundays for A+, and we have your instructor Dima is joining us tonight. Dima, would you like to talk a little bit more about your course?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Dima Yassin. I'm going to be the Saturday, Sunday teacher for the A+ course, CompTIA A+. I don't think I have anything to add to what Mr. Mohseni or my other colleagues said. I'll be here to answer any question, and I'll be here to work with you. If you have any questions or if you need any help, please let me know. And good luck to all of you.
Thank you so much, Dima. Again, if you have any questions, please reach out to her while we have her in our session. For those of you who are on the system admin track and the digital forensics track, another beginning course that you will be taking is your Linux class. And for Linux, let me see if we have the Bill or Yuri are here. We might have to come back for Linux. I don't think any of the instructors for Linux have joined us yet. So we're going to skip that, but that would be another beginning class that you might have this coming session. We have courses on Monday, Wednesday night or Tuesday, Thursday night. For those of you who are on the AI track, your other beginning course is going to be Python, your programming language course. And I know I saw Professor Gurjin had joined us earlier, as well as David Lieberman, who is teaching Monday and Wednesday evenings, and David is teaching on Tuesday and Thursday evenings. David, who would like to go first?
Sure, David can go first.
And David had 2 slides. David, you should be able to share your slides.
I get to go first.
You're in the hot seat.
I love it. So my name is David Lieberman. I'm teaching one of the instructors for the Python Essentials course. Besides just teaching the fundamentals of the Python programming language, one of my passions is to produce good outcomes. And what I mean by that is the ability to take this and apply this knowledge in your workplace, improve workflow, use it to your advantage. And so I have a slide here with a couple. I am sharing, right?
Yes, you are.
Thank you. So this is just a couple of testimonials from some students in the CWCT 140 course. John works for a satellite company, and in week 6 of the CWCT course, we worked together with her on a script to parse the error logs that were coming down from the satellites. And I guess these logs are humongous and very time consuming. And she wrote a parser in Python that filtered out the error messages. And by the end of the course, she had been promoted. So this was, a great success for her. We also had a student, Wilmer, and this is really cool. He wrote a Python script that monitored incoming network traffic and filtered out events that could be potential attacks to the network. I asked Wilmer, where he worked, because I want to give him a credit line, and I think if he told me where he worked, he'd have to shoot me. So I'm going to have to be satisfied with CWCT program participant. But these are tools that you will have in your toolkit when you finish this course to be able to do stuff like this. So just a little background. I'm in Silicon Valley. We're software developers. I've been teaching online for 16 years. This is my second year with CWCT, a wonderful program. Great students. The Python course starts on August 13th. And I'm doing the Tuesdays and Thursdays from 6 to 9 p.m. Central Time. The Zoom link to the lectures will be in your IB Learn shell. And the course material is delivered on Cisco's Netacad platform. And so just before the start of the course, you'll be receiving an email to register on the Netacad site. And there are my 2 slides, Amber.
Perfect. And then if you have Professor Lieberman, please feel free to put your questions in chat or reach out to him. And then I'm going to have Professor Jin go ahead and talk about his Monday and Wednesday night course, also Python.
Hi, yeah, thanks, Dr. Lieberman. First, my course is almost following the Dr. Lieberman's class. I also kind of copied his Kahoot quiz. It will help you for your Net Academy module tests. So I think Professor Lieberman already covered most of the stuff, how the course was offered. I just want to add 2 points. In my previous couple of sessions, I had a student who had trouble to install the Visual Studio Code. Some of the students who come to the Zoom meeting, I try to help them after the class over, after I complete my lab demo or the lecture. We can work together. You can give me control of your Zoom shared window so I can help you resolve any issue. Some students cannot come to the meeting time. I did give at the beginning class in the Net Academy, there's something called the Sandbox. Sandbox is a kind of quick web-based Python programming environment, although they did not provide some of the useful tools like Visual Studio Code, but most of our homework assignment and the labs, you can complete at the Net Academy Sandbox. So do not wait, try to install the Visual Studio Code because we have homework and lab every week. So you can complete most of them. I would say at least 11 out of 14 you can complete using the Net Academy Sandbox. There are 3 assignments or labs required to install the packages, which Net Academy Sandbox does not support. But do not wait, and if you cannot reserve the software to install the Python, you can still complete some of your work in Net Academy, Cisco Net Academy. The second, our courses have lots of hands-on homework exercise, but there are another part also very important, which is the Net Academy module test, summary test, and final test. I follow the Professor Lieberman's grading portion, grading weight of the grading. Those assigned tests also take almost half of the grade. So if you do not do anything about those tests, it's very hard to pass. So make sure that you follow module test every week. And after 4 weeks, complete the summary test. And toward the end of the class, you need to finish your final test as well. If you complete all those tests with 70% or higher, you can get the Net Academy certificate. So that's the 2 additional things I want to just add up to Professor Lieberman's. And welcome to the CWCT courses, and see you Monday in August.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you both for going over the Python course. So another course that everybody's going to have to take no matter what their track is going to be Cyber Ops and Security Plus. So we got A+, Security Plus, and Cyber Ops are those 3 core courses that no matter what your track is, you're going to be taking. as part of the CWCT program. And tonight we have all 3 cyber ops instructors here. So if you happen to have cyber ops this coming session, Professor Alf is teaching Monday and Wednesday nights. Professor Marrero is teaching Tuesday and Thursday evenings, and Professor Bowden is teaching Saturdays and Sundays. So we got the cyber ops team here. Somebody had asked earlier about which courses would be good to take, like doubling up on, and I would say cyber ops is not a course you want to take 2 classes at the same time. The workload, I believe, is quite extensive, but I'm going to turn it over to Ben, Alf, and Joe to tell you a little bit more about the lab work and the hours required for the cyber ops course.
All right, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, I guess I'll go first.
Thank you.
All right, my name is Professor Marrero, and I'll be teaching the Cyber Ops course for Tuesdays and Thursday nights. It's a great class. I enjoy teaching it. It's basically learning about cyber attacks and how to mitigate them, how to stop them or prevent them, to learning the tools you're going to need to do that. It's also provided by Cisco. It's a Cisco certification. So at the end of the course, that's one of your options. I believe it's still an option for getting the cyber ops certification.
Correct.
Good, because I actually had a former student of mine, I think it was about a year ago, take the cyber ops certification, and he passed the certification, and he's working in the cyber field now. So it's a great certification to get. The class is a lot of fun because you get to learn what the threat actors or hackers are the tools that they use. You need to know that so that you know how to mitigate those attacks, how to prevent them. You got to learn the tools that they're using. You got to learn the techniques, the files, and all that comes with it. So you'll be learning that. At the same token, you're learning how to prevent those, how to fight those. The cyber ops is designed for a position as a security operations center specialist. That's a cyber analyst that works in a center, where you're surrounded by networks and computers and monitors, and you're monitoring a network and keeping track of any attacks, any anomalies in your system, things like that. So you get to learn all the tools. Wireshark is one of them. You will be working with Security Onion. The labs are the most important part of this course, the way I teach it. And I'm pretty sure maybe the other instructors do the same thing, but the labs are very important because you're learning, the techniques, but the hands-on is the most important part of it. It enhances the learning process. So if you don't complete the labs, it's going to be very difficult to pass the course. And one of the things, I'll finish with this, one of the things that has already been mentioned several times, I guess it's because we all go through it, the most important thing is for you to communicate with your instructor. No matter what's going down, whatever you think is happening, we need to know that you're still out there, even though you're not submitting any work. Why? What's going on? If there's some extenuating circumstances, we need to know that. We'll be glad to work with you, find a way around your situation, and get you on track. The worst thing you can do is just not communicate. So I place a lot of emphasis on that myself. Please communicate with me if you're going through any situation. It's already been mentioned, as I said, so I know many of you are in the service, and thank you for your service, by the way. And so there's training, deployment, things just come up. We need to know that. Talk to me. That's all I'm asking you to do. All right. And I think you're gonna really enjoy the class, and we're gonna have a lot of fun with it. So I look forward to meeting you all that are in my class and working with you.
Thank you, Ben. Alf, Joe, would you guys like to add anything?
I'll take it for a little bit. Hi, I'm Joe Bawden. I teach for Ivy Tech at the Cyber Academy in Indiana, Columbus, Indiana. And I want to emphasize something that Ben spoke about, the labs. The Cyber Ops course is developed. It's a Cisco course. We use NetAcad and we use Cisco materials. And what Ben was saying about the labs, it is a very content-rich course. And doing the labs will really give you a good understanding of what a tier 1 or maybe a tier 2 SOC analyst will do. So I do, and I'm sure the other instructors also, we do a lot of labs in class. So if you can come to class, it'd be really great. If you can't, please make sure that you do the labs, and also communicate. Ben is right. If I don't hear from you and you're having some trouble, or you don't understand something, or I just don't hear from you at all, then that the longer that goes on, the worse it becomes for both sides. Me knowing how you're doing and you being able to complete the course. So it's a great course. I have the certification. The materials prep you well for obtaining the certification, and it's a lot of fun. It's a really fun course, and I think the other instructors would also agree.
Thank you so much, Joe. Oh, and there's Alf. Alf, what would you like to add?
Just echo what those gentlemen said. I'm Professor Sanford, been with Ivy Tech about 10 years now. And we talk a lot about the networking aspect of things as well. You guys don't really get pure networking in this program, but I think it helps with your understanding of the networks that you're going to be working to protect. As Joe said, we definitely are hands-on in the course. If you can't make it, watch the recordings. Because I like to look at it as the textbook content. Cisco has done a great job with that. Prepare you for passing the cyber ops, and we've got the great U certified tool on top of that. And then the labs are this amazing icing on the cake that makes it practical and gives you the skills that you can highlight for employers. You're not an expert in any of it, but you definitely have had some exposure to these very real tools, like my colleague said, that analysts are using in the SOCs, and the bad guys are too. So you definitely want that perspective. So glad to have you guys. Thank you for your service, those of you that are military, first responders. And I'll add one thing. I like to run a flipped classroom. So if you're in my class, you'll have access to the content probably, I don't know, I'm hoping I'm not overstepping here, at least a day or two before. Read ahead. That's what I ask students to do. If you read ahead, and that'll enrich our time in the class even more. You can bring any questions, we can talk about those. I can't read for you. All right. So when you do that, then the experience, the labs probably make even more sense to you. And then we work on the labs together and give you guys a little bit of a respite. We know you guys are busy with family. I don't know if you're going to try doubling up with this class, but like Amber said, probably not a good idea with this one, but we do all we can to get you through it. We want to see everybody in as many passing this as possible and going on to get that cert as well.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Alf. Again, if you happen to have Joe, Ben, or Alf this session and you have questions, here's your chance to reach out to them through the chat. And then Security Plus is another course that everybody is going to have to take regardless of your track. And we are lucky enough to have Professor Hernandez with us tonight. And he is going to give us a little overview about Security Plus and a little bit about himself.
Thanks, Amber.
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Glenn Hernandez, retired Coast Guard. Been teaching with CWCT for a couple of years now, and Security Plus is my passion to teach, and I love it from the students who participate. I think the comments about involvement and just communications is critical, especially in this class, because we spend a lot of time in group discussions about the practical applications of security in the day-to-day things that we see in the news, events that are happening. I spend a lot of time with LinkedIn learning as well. There's a LinkedIn learning path. We use the Net Labs, the NDG Net Labs, and the other courses really dive deep into the tool set, whereas this course is more of an overview of the 5 domains that CompTIA wants you to understand for the Security Plus certification. And so there's 2 instructors, I believe. I'm teaching Mondays and Wednesdays. And like I said, the 2 sessions we have every week, we spend quite a bit of time discussing what's happening in the world in relation to the domains that we're going to cover. And then there is a final exam, and there's 14 labs that are part of the course. And the Mike Chappell book is an online book in the Ivy Tech library, is what I use to provide sort of the textbook material in addition to what's covered in the LinkedIn learning path. But I look forward to the students that are going to be in my class this upcoming session, and I hope those that are really in CWCT, from whatever perspective you're coming from, it's a great opportunity to really learn and take advantage of the immense resources that this program is offering you. Thank you, Amber.
Yeah, thanks so much, Glenn. And then the Tuesday and Thursday night instructor, Rob, I don't believe he was able to join us tonight. So thank you for giving an overview of that course. For those of you who are on the system admin track, one of the later classes that you'll be taking that really sets the system admin track apart from all the other tracks is your ethical hacking course. And we have Professor Ford joining us tonight. He teaches that class, and he's going to tell you a little bit about what to expect in that course as you get later into your program.
All righty, welcome. And we get to play a little bit. I say that, but the lectures in that class are brutal. We cover material like drinking from a fire hydrant. I mean, it's just, there's a ton of material in that class. So very, very quickly, we're going to go through a ton of material. Now, some of this material is somewhat repeat from what you have seen from other classes. Some of it not. The labs in this class are good labs. I like the labs. I will be doing the labs in the class with you, and also recommending that you go back through the lab and do them again. It's been my experience that if you do a lab once, you get the idea of what it's doing. If you do it twice, it's the second time where you actually learn something about it. The first time it's just like, and then the second time is when you really actually learn what's going on. I have students that do it a third time, and at that point, they really fully understand what's going on in that material. And a lot of my students are prepping for the ethical hacking exam. And so it's one of the reasons I like to make sure I'm at least covering the material for you as well. Again, a lot there that we absolutely cover, but we got to have fun and relax a little bit as well on each class. So we'll do that as well. And that's it.
Awesome.
See you when you get there.
Thank you so much. So that is one of the courses that sets that system admin track apart from the other tracks. If you happen to be on the digital forensics track, one of the classes that you'll be taking is digital forensics investigation. And we have Professor Tagoshi here tonight to tell us a little bit about that class. And again, this is a class that you'll be taking later in your track. So I'm going to turn it over to Daryl. Are you ready?
Yes, I am. Hi.
Awesome.
Welcome, everybody. Yes, we'll be studying the computer hacking forensics investigation certification from EC Council. And we'll be using a book, a study guide for that you'll have an online version of that or a PDF version of that we'll be walking through as well. Again, we'll be using the NDG labs. And like my counterparts have all said, doing the labs is really important. It gives you that hands-on experience and get the logic between that. We do walk through the labs, some of the more difficult ones. I like to walk through and kind of talk through some of the insights, when I'm seeing something or what we're looking through. We do cover a lot. It's kind of an amalgamation of all the things that you've learned along the way, like networking, Windows, Linux, memory, A+ stuff, networking plus, talking about where you're going to have to be able to search for your artifacts and different things and different procedures like that. I go a little bit beyond just the certification. I like to talk about, how you can kind of visualize or where you can kind of try to look for the breadcrumbs and different things like that. And we do talk about current affairs that are having, and I try to do an analysis and a walk through some of those as well as they come up. Like, CrowdStrike wasn't necessarily a hack, but some of the problems that came into that, and then the MGM problem as how that got hacked in, and as you learn, as you know how a hacker goes in, through your ethical hacking course, then you can kind of look at to see where you're going to look for the artifacts or what different techniques could have been placed in, and then you can kind of reverse engineer that and try to find some of the evidence that you're looking for. And like my counterpart says, I am here to help you through the whole process. If you have problems or like you have to delay getting assignments in, communication is really, really important. Just communicate with me. I am very flexible. I appreciate all your work, and I know that life gets in the way and you have your services, and I thank you for your service as well. So, but yeah, but I'm hoping we can have fun with that. I do some virtual in a virtual environment. I do some examples that way, and hopefully get some hands-on in addition to the labs that you do in the NDG as well. So I look forward to meeting all of you in my class.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Dale. And what a nice way to close out all of the instructors. I believe I introduced everybody who was able to join us. Instructors, speak now or forever hold your peace. All right, Chrissy, we took some of your time, so please, Steve and I are willing to give you some of our minutes, so please take the time that you need. Chrissy is going to be going over all things Ivy Learn and your My Ivy account, so if you want to log in and click along with her, this is a great time to kind of practice playing in the platform as she's explaining things about your course.
Sure. Thanks, Amber. So again, if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. And hopefully any questions that didn't get answered during my last time will get answered here. I know we have covered a lot of information. And as Amber mentioned, we are running, a little bit behind. So if you have to go at 6 o'clock Central, please feel free to do so. This recording will be sent so you can watch whatever you missed, but hopefully we won't end too over our time. So a lot of information has been thrown at you, and I know one of the main reasons you're here is to figure out how do I actually do these classes, which is what I'm going to be talking about in this segment. So I'm going to talk about two big pieces of technology that you're going to be using as a participant in this program. You've actually already used both of these pieces when you went through the application process to access your assessments. But I'm going to discuss more closely how they will relate to your actual participation in the courses and doing your courses. And while this program is made up of the consortium of the 4 universities, as was discussed at the very beginning, it is the Ivy Tech system that is used. All of the courses are done through our Ivy Tech's learning management system, our LMS. So that's why I get the privilege of talking about this. So tonight, we're going to be looking at My Ivy, which is your student portal, as well as Ivy Learn, which is how you will actually access your courses for your Zooms, your syllabus, and just starting the class in general. So I am going to talk first about My Ivy and just touching on that briefly. So there are several different ways to get into both My Ivy and Ivy Learn. The first is going to be through the main Ivy Tech website, which actually I meant to pull up here. So the main Ivy Tech website is just ivytech.edu. So you can start there, and you will see up at the very top menu bar, there is a link to My Ivy and a link to Ivy Learn. You will find out very quickly that Ivy Tech always has Ivy in the name of their stuff. So it can get a little confusing, but hopefully this will help clear some things up. You can also get into My Ivy by going directly to the website, and that's going to be myivy.ivytech.edu. So you will see there. I'm just going to recommend you bookmark this page for easy access, and then you can also bookmark Ivy Learn or get to Ivy Learn through your My Ivy account. I am going to let you know they do highly recommend you not use Microsoft Edge as your browser. It's not very compatible with some of our Ivy Tech, like with Ivy Learn and that kind of stuff. So we recommend, I think Chrome is the most recommended browser for at least for Ivy Learn. But I do believe Safari and Firefox are also, it's just highly recommended not to use Edge. So you will log into your Ivy Tech account. So when you're on the My Ivy page, you'll just log in. Now, I think mine is going to automatically log me in because I have my stuff saved. And I'm on let's see if it goes. So, but when you log in, you're gonna log in using your Ivy Tech email address as your username, and then the password that you developed. We do not keep records of your password. So if you have forgotten your password, there was a reset or forgot password link that was on the login page. If you do that and you get the message that you cannot reset your password and an administrator has to do that, then you have to contact our help desk. You can call them at 1-888-IVY line, LINE, and I'm sure Amber can stick that in the chat for you. You will need your C number, and which was sent to you way back when you first created your MyIV account. That would have been sent to your personal email address, your C number, and your Ivy Tech email address. If they say they cannot find you, you have to let them know you're a non-credit student, because I think they have to look in a different place that they're just not used to looking. So that's just something to keep in mind. So your MyIV portal will look slightly different than mine as far as which links are displaying, since you have a student view and mine is a staff view. Although I do have some student stuff in there from when I took classes myself with Ivy Tech. But the concepts I'm about to discuss are going to be the same. So there are essentially two big pieces you will want to become familiar with in MyIV for this program. The two big pieces you'll want to know are how to access Ivy Learn, as well as your student email. As a participant, your Ivy Learn should be here in the quick links. It should automatically come up. I think that's on everybody's quick links as an instructor, a staff member, a student. It should be right here. Here it's right in the middle, but it's Ivy Learn. If you do not see it in your quick links, if you go to see all, or you can do a search for it up here in the search bar, pull up Ivy Learn, and then you can favorite it by clicking on the little heart next to it, and then it would come up here in your favorites. Your email has changed. It used to be here in quick links. It is up here in the upper left. There is now an email link right here that says email. We do all of our email through Outlook now. It used to be through Gmail. It is through Outlook. So if you click on that, it'll open up Outlook. That you should be able to download the Outlook app and access your Ivy Tech email through the Outlook app as well. You need to, due to student privacy laws, so there are student privacy laws called FERP. It's the family education, something with privacy. I don't remember the name of it. FERP. Due to these privacy regulations, we cannot share educational information with other people. That you have a right as a student for that information to remain private within our institutions. So therefore, we will not send educational information to your personal email addresses, which is why it is so important that you are checking your Ivy Tech email on a regular basis. I mentioned earlier, registration emails, those will only go to your Ivy Tech email, because that is a part of your educational record, what classes you're taking, when, those kinds of things. So if you have not been checking your Ivy Tech email and you did not respond to those registration forms yet, please do so. I do know I sent out some confirmations earlier today. If you submitted your forms and did not receive your confirmation, it just could be because we're still processing them. But you need to be checking your Ivy Tech email on a regular basis. That is usually where we will set, when we're confirming withdraws, we're gonna only send it to your Ivy Tech email. That means you should only be sending us emails from your Ivy Tech email. We need to make sure that it is you contacting us and not somebody else through your personal email addresses. So that's that. I'm just looking at my checklist here. Oh, please also, when you're checking your Ivy Tech email, please also make sure you're checking your spam, or I believe in Outlook, it's actually called clutter. Please make sure you're checking that particular folder on a regular basis as well. For some reason, even if like I'm sending you the email from Ivy Tech, it will for some reason go into that clutter folder. So please just make sure you're also checking that spam clutter folder on a pretty regular basis, because like I have known registration emails to go in there. I've known when you finish a class and you get instructions for doing a voucher, sometimes those go into there, and we have no control over what filters into that and what doesn't. So just so you're not missing anything, please make sure you're checking your Ivy Tech email and that spam and clutter folder. So that's a first big piece of information. Now, some of this stuff is not going to be applicable for you on your My Ivy account because you're a non-credit student. So if you were to go in here to My Schedule, you are not going to see a schedule. I email you your schedule when we're done registering you. So your account balance, you don't pay for this program. There's not going to be anything there. Financial aid is not applicable to this program, so on and so forth. So because you are a non-credit student, some of this stuff there's not going to be anything in there if you click on it. So your email is the big piece in here, and your Ivy Learn is the big piece in here. Now, the big piece I know you've all been waiting for. How exactly do you complete your virtual classes? How do I do these classes? What do I need to do? These will be through Ivy Learn, as I've mentioned several times. So what you are going to do is when you're in your My Ivy, you can either just click on Ivy Learn to get there, or you can go directly to the link or the web address, which is ivylearn.ivytech.edu, or again, you can get to it through the main Ivy Tech website. So there's 3 ways to get there, but this is Ivy Learn. So you will notice when you go into Ivy Learn, and I just got done talking about email, I kind of want to talk about the difference between your email and this inbox that you will see, because some students get it confused thinking it's the same thing. It is not. This inbox is a direct communication system that is linked to your particular classes. So you cannot contact me through here because I am not linked to your classes. Okay. I cannot email you through here because I am not linked to your classes. So this would be if you want to contact your instructor for a particular class, you could do it through here, or you can just email them through your regular Ivy Tech email. So like when you go in there and you develop a message, it'll like ask you like, you know, which class you're wanting to look at, and then it'll give you the name of your instructor and it sends it through that. So any general emails we send out will be through your Ivy Tech email, not this inbox, because again, we are not linked to your classes. And again, the reason I say that is, you know, students will go into like, hey, you haven't registered for classes yet. And they'll say, I've never received an email. I've never received a single email from you guys. It's because they're looking at this inbox and not their Ivy Tech email. So just know the difference between those. And I want to point it out because it can cause some confusion sometimes. So your courses on your dashboard. Now, any of these announcements up here are going to be like Ivy Tech announcements that, again, may not really you don't really need to worry about them unless it's like a system down or something like that. But these are going to be really more geared towards like our Ivy Tech 4-credit students. But your courses should be listed here in your dashboard. You will see that there are published courses and there are unpublished courses. That's going to be important here in a second that I will talk about. So you can either get to your courses here, or if you click on this courses menu item, again, it will show you published courses and unpublished courses. You may even need to click on all courses in order to see like everything. You know, I have a lot of past enrollment and that kind of stuff. So let me go back to my dashboard here. One important thing to note, okay, this is really important, and I know we're going to still get emails about this because we always do. Your courses will not appear on Ivy Learn. The soonest they may appear on here is 2 days before the start of the session. That's a system. That's not a CWCT thing. That is just how the Ivy Tech system works. 2 days before your first class session, it should pop up here on Ivy Learn. Now, let's say it's 2 days beforehand. So let me show you this. So that means, okay, if you have a Monday, Wednesday class, your first day is going to be Monday, August 12th. That's your first lecture. That means the earliest you will possibly see that class on Ivy Learn is the Saturday before, Saturday, August 10th. I can actually make this a little bit bigger for some. If you have a Tuesday, Thursday class, that means your first day of class, your first lecture is Tuesday, August 13th. That means the earliest you may see your class on Ivy Learn is Sunday, August 11th. Saturday and Sunday class, again, we don't have them very often, but that starts the Saturday at the tail end of the week. Classes start on Monday, the session starts Monday, August 12th. It starts on a Monday. That means your Saturday, Sunday class, if you have a Saturday, Sunday class, your first class meeting will be Saturday, August 17th. That means you may not see your class in Ivy Learn until Thursday, August 15th. Now, and this is where we always get, you know, that 2 days beforehand comes up. So let's say you're in a Monday, Wednesday class, Saturday comes up and you send us an email. I don't see my class. I'm not registered. I personally manually check every single registration versus what's in our two systems. If you get a confirmation that you are registered, you are registered. What it probably means is your instructor has not published the course yet. So Saturday comes around, you're not seeing it. It could be because they haven't, it's not ready yet. They still need to finish up some stuff in there to get it published. Please allow them until really up until when the class is supposed to start to allow them to publish it. Now, we ask that they publish it like the Friday before classes start, but things happen. They might need to change some things. So please we know you guys are super excited and you want to get started. We trust me, we know we've been doing this for 2-3 years now. Please have patience with your instructors on getting those published. You can see if it is just because it is published or not here in your dashboard. If it is not published, please go down to the unpublished courses and you will see it listed down there. And if that is the case, that means you just need to wait until they publish it. We also ask that instructors send like a welcome email at the beginning, like the weekend before. Again, that doesn't always happen for one reason or another. So we always get a very large amount of emails right beforehand saying, I don't see this class. And it's just us saying, please have patience. And we have to wade through those. So please have patience and look here in the unpublished courses. And if you see it there, that means you just have to wait until it gets published. So I'm going to use one of my past courses. And then also if you go to all courses, you will again see it will tell you, it will be listed, and if it's not published, it'll say no. So I am going to use one of my past courses to show you what a course looks like. Again, it's not going to be exactly the same, but to show you how do you access Zoom, how do you do your assignments, that kind of thing. So again, you'll see your course. Oh, so once you click in the course, there is a menu. So you have your menu all the way on the left for Ivy Learn. And then once you click in the course, you'll have like a course menu. You need to make sure that you are reading announcements. Those are either going to be at the very, very beginning, or if you click on announcements, they will be there as well. You will want to carefully read the syllabus. Now, some instructors will use a syllabus from session to session, and they might forget to like update something. So like this last session, we had an instructor forgot to update that the classes were on Mondays, Wednesdays, and in the syllabus it said Tuesdays, Thursdays, and that caused some confusion. So just know that if like, oh, I thought I was registered for a Monday, Wednesday class, but the syllabus says Tuesday, it could be because the instructor just didn't update it or hadn't updated it yet, or just missed it when they were updating it. So, you know, ask questions and we'll try to get to you in a timely fashion. So now the modules, which is where I did all of my classes, you're probably not going to have a lot, because so like here is like, you know, week 1 module, and this were like what I was supposed to do at that time. For this particular program, and it's been mentioned a couple different times, some of your classes will utilize outside resources. So some classes may use Cisco Netacad, and you will go into Cisco Netacad to do your modules and quizzes and exams and labs. Some will utilize NDG NetLab, that you have to do that to use your to to do your labs. So you just need, if you miss the first lecture, watch the recording. Your instructor will go over how do you get to your assignments? Where are your assignments? They will go over that the first class period. So you may not have anything in the modules tab, or it may just tell you what you need to do week to week, but then you do the assignments in those outside resources. It's really going to depend. I can't say for sure because it's going to vary by class. Every class is going to be different, even amongst like classes of the same type, because it'll depend on the instructor and how they have it set up. Now, I believe it was, I don't remember who mentioned it now. It was one of the cyber ops instructors mentioned about, I think it was Alf, doing the reading beforehand, that kind of thing. And he also mentioned that you will get an email for NetAcad. Maybe you'll get an email for your NetLab account, where you will get those. Your instructor may tell you in a separate email how to access those, but what we really recommend, especially for Linux, we really recommend waiting until your first day for your instructors to give you specific instructions on how to access those things. Because especially for Linux, you have to make sure you click on the correct course to put in the correct code, all of that stuff. So we ask, just wait until that first class session to actually make your account with those emails that are sent to you. It can prevent, if you do something wrong beforehand, it might be difficult to fix it. Or just wait until you are given those instructions and do it right the first time. The grades may or may not be in here. Those may be in Cisco NetAcad, or it may even be in a combination of this and those outside resources. So really the big piece in Ivy Learn is, how do you actually watch the lectures? It's the Zoom piece. How do I get on live? Or how do I watch the recorded lectures? So this is going to be really important, and we're still going to get questions about it from people who don't watch the orientation, but even those who do sometimes miss this piece. So there are, and we make it really easy. When you're in the class, here in the left menu item, there is a Zoom menu item in the class itself. When you click on Zoom, there are going to be 3 tabs. There is going to be an upcoming meetings tab, but there may be only 2 tabs. There may be up to 3 tabs. There will definitely be an upcoming meetings tab. This will tell you all of the meetings, should tell you all of the meetings for the class for the session. I don't have any in here because this is a past class, so obviously there are no upcoming meetings. All you will simply do, I believe it'll be here under the meeting ID, there should be a link for you to just click on and go into the meeting. So that's if you're going to attend live. If you cannot attend live, again, you should watch the recording. You're going to find that in one of 2 places, depending on how the instructor records it. If they record it to their computer, the file is going to go under this previous meetings tab. So again, I don't have anything because my instructor did cloud recordings. And because this class was 4 years ago, actually, I think he did do, the classes were listed here, but because it was 4 years ago, they're not listed here anymore. But so here in the previous meetings, there will be a link that you can click on to get the recording. Or if they record it to the cloud, it will be here under the cloud recordings. As you can see, my instructor did cloud recordings. So you can see if I were to click on one of these, it would take me to the recording of the meeting. So that's how you do your Zoom. For live, it'll be here in the upcoming meetings. For a recording, it will be either under previous meetings or cloud recordings. And you'll just simply click on it and go. If on your first day, there don't appear to be any upcoming meetings listed, please check your announcements tab, as the instructor may have put the link in the announcements. Please check your syllabus tab, as they may have put it in their syllabus, or check your email because they may have emailed you the link. And it could just be that they haven't gotten it into here yet, or it hasn't gotten into there yet after they created it. So if you don't see any upcoming meetings, check the announcements, check the syllabus, check your Ivy Tech email for an email from your instructor. Again, you may not necessarily get that email from the instructor, so don't rely on that. Actually go in and look in this Zoom's meeting. If you're not seeing that Zoom link anywhere, it's not here, it's not in the announcements, it's not in the syllabus, you didn't get an email. We hope that that doesn't happen, but again, things happen. Then you can email your instructor. You can email us, but we're just going to direct you to your instructor because, again, we don't have access to your classes. We have no idea what that Zoom link is. Plus, when these classes are happening, the classes are either weekdays, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Central, or on the weekends. More than likely, we as program managers are not in the office at that time. So email your instructor, but also realize they may be in the middle of teaching the class, so they might not be able to get to you right away. So if you miss the first class because you couldn't find the Zoom link, something happened, just go back and watch the recorded lecture that next day. I'm sure it'll depend on the instructor as to how quickly it gets into the previous meetings or the cloud recordings tab. My hope is that by the next day it would be there. It may be right after the class ends, but go back and watch that recording if you missed that, especially that first class where they're going to give you a lot of important information. So last piece of information from me. So Ivy Learn, which is where, again, is the learning management system, is powered by it's Canvas. So especially for those of you who have taken college courses before, you're probably maybe familiar with Canvas, Blackboard, Brightspace. Those are the three that I know is how classes are done. So Ivy Learn is Canvas. We just call it Ivy Learn because it's our Ivy Text thing. Again, there is a Canvas app that can be downloaded. You're probably not going to be able to do your assignments in it because you're going to need a browser and a virtual machine and all of that. But it can be really helpful for due dates. If due dates are listed, they may be listed in Netacad. It can be helpful for accessing that inbox, for contacting your instructor, things like that. So it can still be somewhat helpful, not as much as being able to do your assignments in there, but just so you know, there is a Canvas app that you can download if you want. I think that is all I have. Amber, any questions that did not get answered?
No, I think everything has been covered between Steve and Dr. Tu. And
Perfect.
So we are very lucky tonight to have Dr. Tu joining us, who is one of our PIs for the program, the main PI for the program, and he helped to develop the digital forensics curriculum. He's going to go over a little bit more about that track in particular and the different certifications associated with it. So I am going to turn it over to Dr. Tu.
Thank you, Amber.
Yeah.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Michael Tu. I'm the leading PI for this project, and it's my pleasure to meet you guys all here. So we're going to talk a little bit about the learning path. So we only have about 15 minutes, right? So total. So I'm going to share my screen. So here is our learning path information about this program. So you can find all the information here. Probably you already know this website. So we have 3 different training paths, and we also have the CWCT course here as well. So we have 3 different training tracks, we call tracks. So one is digital forensics, another one is the cybersecurity system administration, and the other one is the AI track. So we're supposed to have some other faculty members join us to talk about other tracks. I don't know if they are here yet, but I will start with the digital forensic track. So digital forensic track is, I will just click on this one, right? So you can all read my screen, right? So if you, great. So as we talk about, so we have 6 courses for each track, and for this 3 track, we share 3 common courses, right? So these three common cores are like A+ and the security plus and Cisco CyberOps. So the A+ is just talking about the very basic computer systems. And it was just talking about the computer components, how you install the components, right? Software, operating system, and other security protections. And we do spend maybe 2 weeks talking about the network because we don't have a network security network plus course specific for this, training. But so that's why we need, but the network is very important component for security. So we have these two modules included. So we were using some of the simulators software, right? Depends. I think we're using Cisco simulator, right? So packet tracer, right? Okay, packet tracer. So then we, this course, we're also talking about the, Windows, right? File system setup configuration and a little bit about the security, right? Firewall policies. So those are only mainly for the, not for the server, right? And it's mainly for the personal single desktop. So the second course is actually, we have security, security plus and the CyberOps. Sometimes those two courses can be taken concurrently, okay, concurrently. So, but we do, I don't know, we have any preference or not, okay. But anyway, I already forget about that. So this security, Cisco CyberOps is more about the security operations. So based on the name, it's more about the hands-on, right? So this course is more than 50% on hands-on. So normally we have 50% on hands-on and 50% on lecture, but this course probably 70% is hands-on. So they all talk about apply different techniques and then how can you use that to protect the computer systems, right? So for example, as you can see, we talk about the, like PowerShell, right? Process registry using Wireshocks and for security analysis, right? And then we're talking about the social engineering and some of other attacks, all kinds of attack, a lot of attack. We just put some of attacks here, but actually there are more. And then we were talking about IDS firewall, right? The encryption, those are all about the techniques, okay? Technology and techniques. So it's not about only about the concept. So the instructor could talk a little bit about the concept and like encryption, you could take like maybe 40 hours on encryption, but in this class, we probably just very brief, okay, very brief. And then talking about the, malware analysis, right? I don't know how far it can go. Normally, probably it's just introduction, okay, introduction. So we have security plus course. So this one is supposed to cover all the fundamentals for the security, right? And like security principles, basic of cryptography and the encryption algorithms, right? The symmetric key and asymmetric key systems, right? Public and private key systems, and of course, certificate, right? And then we were talking about the access control, identity management. So those are very related. So they were talking about what resources they can use and how they can authorize, and then how the, the system will be provisioned to the user, and the user, of course, can access, right, the resource they are requesting, okay? And then we're talking about the, this is more about evaluation, right? Penetration testing is also called ASIC hacking. So this is just to verify if you have a security evaluation assessment, and then they will just verify what vulnerabilities you did have, right? So we can have a security vulnerability report, and then you did want to show, right, what really could happen. So that's called penetration testing, okay? Security protection penetration testing. So then once that's done, right? So then you need to make sure your systems can be protected, right? So of course, network and system hardening, right? So then, for example, patching and then close some of the unused holes, right? Ports, for example. And I think we're already talking about the account, right? Things. So then we were talking about the network security. That was the fun part, right? That's kind of like the meat. And we're also talking about the risk management. So this is something happen, what you can do, right? We cannot control our system or protect our system 100%. So then we must have something to be able to, if something happen, how can we contain and minimize or mitigate and minimize the risk, right? So this is all what we supposed to talk. And of course, it should have a business continuity component. So if for some business we'll have interruptions of what we can do, right? We cannot sustain if it's interruptions too long. So then we could have different options. Okay? And then we were talking about forensics, right? If something happened, of course we needed to use, what type of things we can use, technology we can use, right? To find out what happened. Okay, so this is just like kind of like the introduction, very brief introduction, and the real ones is you will learn from the forensic track. So this is about the security plus course, and I'm not going to close it. So we also have a 3-track specific course, and we have the Linux system administration. So I'm not a Linux person, so I assume those were talking about the Linux basic commands and some how can we use those commands, right? Techniques to protect the Linux system, right? So that it also has some management component, right? Configuration, system setup, and then of course, right? And then configuration and the security. So computer forensics, well, actually we should take this digital forensic investigation. So this course is supposed to prepare all the training participants about the fundamentals of forensics, digital forensics. So we're talking about the regulation laws and the procedures and rules of evidence and some of very basic about forensic investigation process. So then we're using digital forensics, right? So for example, we're talking about how to investigate like the operating system, how to investigate the Windows computer, like registry, file systems, and operating system, and maybe even a little bit about network, right? And then talking about maybe how if there's some crime or instance happen, what are the process? So that's all about this digital forensics investigation, okay, course. And this course is supposed to design to prepare training participants for CHFI, EC Council's CHFI certification. So then we have more advanced ones. So this one's a little bit, I think, is very technical. This one's so technical. So it's more about the Windows forensics. So this one, we follow the access data training thing, right? Because they have a lot of training topics, but we will have built our own system, our own curriculum, but it will kind of like follow, follow their, topics, right? Okay. So we have the file systems, registry, Windows operating system, and Microsoft Office, and a little bit on network as well, forensic as well. And then, of course, web browsers, right? So those are all, advanced, very detailed, very technical, and lots of hands-on. So if you don't practice, you will learn basically nothing from this course, okay? Computer forensics course. So maybe it's supposed to be Windows forensics. And we also have another optional course is called mobile forensics. So that mobile forensics covers iOS and Android forensics. So I'm now teaching that course for the training participant. So I think that's pretty much about this digital forensic track. I don't know if we have anybody else, the faculty members or join us or not, Amber?
No, I think Farina was going to try and get on, but I don't believe Dr. Shi is able to join us and Rami is not able to join us.
Also, then I will just give a very brief introduction, okay, about the other tracks. So they share the same, three common tasks, right? And course. So maybe I will just start with the security system administration. So they all have 3 common course, and for this class they have the Linux, right, course. And one thing is about ethical hacking and cloud administration. So ethical hacking, I have been certified by this EC Council, so CH. So it's more about it's very technical. This course is supposed to be very technical about the find the vulnerabilities and what are the attacks, right? And so it's all about those things. So you will find a lot of possible vulnerabilities, and you can develop your own attacks. One not on the engineering part, but actually utilize other tools, right, to attack the system. So this will be a very fun course, and it will designed to prepare participant for the CEH, right? Certified Ethical Hacker certification. So we also have the cloud system administration. I don't have, I'm not expertise for this one. So I mean, we have another PI doc here. I don't know if he's here, so I think he's not here. So he developed this course and he is his student. So we kind of like, talking about all the, because cloud is so important, right? Because almost everything, a lot of things is actually using cloud technology. And so they just using they must take, apply the Linux things, right? But also cloud system. So basically for all the create the instance, right? And then, create the instance, and then they needed to manage the instance, right? The cloud instance. So actually what you create and manage configuration, and then you will learn how to securely protect the systems and all those things. So for details, I don't have that detailed topics, but it's basically follow that major topic. So we also have another training path, right? So it's the AI. I think this is a very popular track.
Hey, Dr. Tu, can you share your screen, please?
I'll have to share my screen. Oh, I forgot, sorry.
You were, and then I think you stopped when you were done with your part.
Yeah, sorry about that. So for this track, we have the Python, right? So I know there's a lot of Python expertise here. So, but anyway, because of time limits, I don't have time to allow them to talking about this. So, but it's a programming, right? We all know what the programming talking about, right? Data types and the basic syntax, and then create functions, right? So, and then create a program. So that's how it works. So of course, the syntax could be a lot of things are talking about that, and you need to practice. So when I teach a programming course, I kind of like live demo everything. So there's almost no concepts talking about, right? It's all about the techniques and then practice and how can you use in the programming. So I recommend if you guys taking this course, just try to follow the instructors, examples by examples, and then you will learn. If you just listen, then you will forget, okay? Because those are very basic things, a lot of details. Okay? And we do have another one called, this course I think is a little bit misleading. So it's supposed to be the introduction to AI. So it will have some talking about AI, talking about machine learning. I don't think we cover a little bit on deep learning or not. So, but this is mainly for the introduction part. So it will cover all the fundamentals, right? Very basic about the AI. So, but this course, you must have Python. Otherwise, you will not be able to take this course. So I recommend you to really learn very well for the Python and practice. And before we have this IoT and hardware security, so recently due to something happened, and we, because of technology things. So we probably, and also a lot of demand on this more AI and machine learning, right? So we have a new course, it's called the Machine Learning Foundations. So that one's more technical than the introduction to AI. So I'm not expertise because I don't want to talk about something misleading you guys. So this is new. It will be, we are trying to offer in this session, right? This session. So we'll see. And this is a pilot course. And I know you guys will, none of you guys probably were taking this, but if you are taking this time in case, right, then just be patient because this is a pilot and we're going to see how it works. So then we will have, something maybe revised, right, if needed. So I think that's pretty much, right, what we, talking about all these tracks and the course. So for the details about the course, right, so you can find the course description here. And, we don't have our machine learning foundations here yet. So we will make it a 345, probably 345 introduction to, and it's not the introduction, it should be machine learning foundations. We will change the name for this title for this course as well. So depends on the interest, maybe in the future, we may want to develop more AI course. So for example, responsive AI or generative AI, right? So those are, generative AI is more technical, responsive AI is more, it's less technical, but it's more about the management, right? Risk, security things. And of course, you do need to understand I think this course 245, that's required. So generative is the tough part is how can we share the computing resource, right? So you must have some at least powerful resource. You want to be able to run in virtual environment. So then how can we share that, GPU box, right? So that could be a challenge. But anyway, that's the future plan. So I think that's pretty much about the 3 learning tracks. If you have any question, please let us know. I see there's like 32 messages here. I don't have a chance to respond.
They've all been covered, Dr. Tu.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Tu. All right, so we are coming on 6 o'clock on the button. Thank you everybody for joining us tonight. Hopefully you've got a better grasp on the courses, the layout of the courses, your instructors for the coming session and future sessions. So hopefully you feel well prepared for courses starting on August 12th. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Chrissy or myself by email. Otherwise, I'm going to wish everybody a good night. Thank you for joining us.